So perhaps one of the most important video of all time that I shall be making on IB tips. I also need to make them. Oh, Jesus. Dude, there's dust on my on my tea thing. Shoot, it was very bad. So perhaps one of the most important IB tip video. Jesus, I'm annoyed by that. I gotta clean that up. Perhaps one of the most important IB tip video that I shall ever make. Oh, that's hot. Is going to be the IB schedule, as I call it. The thing is that the IB program only lasts for 2 years. In those 2 years, you only have so much time to delegate everything. And a lot of time people say be smart about it, such as finish your IA and EE as quickly as possible. And as I would recommend on the CAS project thing, do it as early as possible. A lot of other people say, oh, focus on this, focus on that. Oh, you should try to prioritize this or that first. Here is my genuine revision of all that. See it as a revisionist perspective. See it as me trying to change up some stuff. Here is my IB schedule, right? So the moment you are admitted into the IB, you have to, like, not even without talking months, I would have to say, think to yourself, okay, what have I done before this IB program? If you have done a GCSE before the IB, you don't have to worry that much, or GCSE, because you're British, you don't have to worry too much. Because a lot of time there is a lot of similarities, and it draws great parallels from the GCSE program or GCSE program to the IB program. So if that's the case, wonderful. If you learn other things other than GCSE program, well then, my dude, there is going to be a lot for you to learn. However, I do not know a lot of detail on that. However, the schedule that I am going to set out is actually kind of solid, I would have to more or less say. First of all, in the first few months of the IB, you're just getting used to it. You're just getting used to all the books, you're just getting used to a lot of stuff. I would more or less say, read through the books. Read through the books a tiny bit, look through it a tiny bit, watch some YouTube videos on it. The entire physics course is somewhere online. It literally is. The entirety of the physics course is somewhere online. The mathematics course has so many videos already talking about it, right? Integration, differentiation, Taylor series, all of these things is talked about somewhere online with a very wonderful teacher explaining it to you. Hell, the entire class of calculus 1 and 2 and algebra and pre-algebra and even abstract algebra has an entire course somewhere online with a teacher hurriedly explaining everything, right? So you don't have to worry about that. That course is somewhere online as well. And you take all the other courses, it's still then somewhere online. If you take biology, there's Bio Ninja. If you take physics, there's Biophysics, there's Ninja, Physics Ninja and a lot of other stuff. The entire course is online. Think about it. Language B, well, that's just shooting the crap as we have seen before. Language A, still, they're all research online. They're not going to pick a book such as they both die at the end to get, they both die at the end, right? They're not going to pick some extremely weird, rare book that no one has read before. There's going to be somewhere information online, right? So I would say do your preliminary research on every single subject. Look through it, get a feel for it, just so that you know, okay, this is what the thing might expect from me. Right? It doesn't have to be that bad, because at the beginning of the IB, there's nothing to really stress about. The only thing that you more or less have to stress about is setting a solid schedule that you can do all your subject in, right? So say Mondays for business, Tuesdays for this and that, and then so that you have a day of break and you have days of work. You could set it up like that, like days of work and days of rest, and that's it, right? Rather than, Mondays for business, Tuesdays for math or something like that, because then the schedule is extremely inflexible. But if you have a lot more flexible techniques, such as these are the work day, these are not the work day, and I could add in the work day and minus out rest day whenever I want. Right? So more or less you're just establishing a schedule. Those are the first few months of the IB. Not a goddamn joke. Yeah, those are the first few months of the IB. Don't even worry about IAs and EEs yet. Simple reason to not worry about the IAs and EEs yet, because you haven't learned enough. Simply put, this is the downfall of the IB. A lot of people say, oh, finish the IA and EE as quickly as you can. I'll tell you this, half the freaking time the teachers can't even get through the content because there's just so much to get through, and a lot of students to teach as well. Even in a niche class, you're still moving semi-slowly because there's so much to get through and so much to actually understand. Simply put, don't worry about IAs and EE yet, okay? So you don't worry about that too much. You're just getting a feel for the IB. You don't even think about it yet, right? And the first thing you should even be starting to think about is just EE question. You're not even writing it. You're just thinking about the question. I basically see that first semester and second semester, the only stressful thing is thinking about the EE, thinking about what university you might want to go to after you finish the IB, so you're thinking a little bit ahead, and establishing a good flexible schedule, and that's about it. And following these three things. You establish a good schedule just so that you can study everything that you need within the IB. And then at some point, you have to pick a topic for the EE. Like pick a subject, and then you pick a question going from there. And then after you have that, I would say the rest of the time is just sticking to the IB program and just trying to learn as much as you can. Right? You learn as much as you can from the program just so that you know that 100% all your tests, all the other stuff, all the techniques that you will learn from the IB are keep grounded solid, because the moment you get these done, IAs and EEs become a breeze. IAs and EEs depend on the skills that you get from the IB. Basically researching, MRA citation, because that's extremely important for reasons. Knowing what the hell to write, getting your skills of writing better, your skills of other things going a lot better. But other than that, yeah, I would actually say take your IAs and EEs and take them later on. Hear this, you don't have the power of hindsight here, right? So because of that, simply put, you just have to learn as much as you can. Take everything super duper solid, right? You can even learn beforehand. Because a lot of times, say for the mathematics IA, it is the most horrible IA you can get. It gives you no direction, it just says explore topic. That's it. That was scary. What can we explore? Statistics? Something else? It could be sometimes extremely abstract math, which, well, surprise, surprise, unless you're an absolute genius, you're not going to be able to do it, right? If not, then it's going to be something relating to statistics. If it's statistics, then that's going to take at least towards until the end of 12th grade. So you're not really going to realistically do your math IA very early. Physics IA, on the other hand, what about that? Yes, you could carry that out very quickly. However, the thing is that once again, the physics course has so much in it, I would rather you actually very much focus on getting good scores on tests and such, because we have discussed before how the physics IA is done very shortly. So why not do it when you actually have a lot of time and a lot of ability to just go through it in a day or so, right? What about EE? Well, you have a question and then you just do the research. Simple as. The EE is not hard. You have to understand this. You're not discovering something new. You're simply researching about the topic, right? You're not an absolute grad student or something who needs to do an extremely extensive paper, who answers questions, who like does hours and hours and hours of research. No. This is the IB. Calm down, okay? Like if anything, if I remember correctly, the research should take a little bit more than 20 hours. It's not going to take that long. It legit will perhaps take you 3 weeks of semi-concentrated work, and you will more or less get it. Like you think, oh my god, 3 weeks of semi-concentrated work, what do you mean by that? What I mean is that you're working like this is a good EE, okay? Good EE. You're working 5 hours a day, every single day for 3 weeks. That's not that bad, I'll tell you that. It is not that bad, and it could be cumulative. It could be cumulative. Think about that. If you do it, if you actually know your direction in the EE and you can keep semi-good tabs of yourself, it would take you perhaps, I don't know, 3 weeks, that's 21 days. So it would take you 21 weeks. And that's saying like you work each weekend around 5 hours. And believe me, you'll get a lot of stuff done in 5 hours. A lot more than you think. Okay? So the EE, the most important thing is just getting a question. After that, it's just a lot of research. It's not hard, my dude. It is not hard. The hardest thing you will ever encounter is the question. That's it. That is literally it. And like minor stuff along the ways. So simply put, don't stress about the IAs and EEs yet, because you simply put have not learned enough. Right? Even if your school set out a deadline or something about, oh, you should do this, IA right here, oh, you should do EE at this time. Don't care about that. What are they gonna do if you don't get your IAs and EEs then? At the end of the day, if you get it done, you're done with it. No one else cares about everything else, okay? If you get it done and they submit it, good score or not, that's up to how you set out your schedule. So I would much rather have you have an extremely flexible schedule and establish that throughout the entirety of the first 2 semesters, which is 11th grade. Establish that extremely solidly so that you know, okay, I now have an extremely stable schedule where I know when I can work, when I can turn my brain on work, and these are the rest day where I just do nothing. I do crap all, right? Once you have those things down, when you integrate the IAs and EEs in, it's not going to get that bad. It really is not. That is the biggest thing that a lot of people lack, is the fact that the IB is not mind-bogglingly hard because it keeps telling you to critically think about everything, despite TOK being the case, even though it's not really. I'll tell you that it's critical thinking is nothing more than a marketing scam, and half the time, believe me, I don't even think the people who makes the IB can critically think, okay? If they can think critically, they would have not put TOK in there in the first place. If not, they would have put way more emphasis on TOK. Think about it. Critical thinking requires the most resources of the brain because it actually forces you to make so many connections from so many different areas of life. So why do we only have it very little, number one? Secondly, why do we have 7 other books from 7 other subjects crammed down our throat with TOK on top of that? Doesn't sound like it's too good for me. I don't know about you. Doesn't sound like it's too good. Wouldn't it be a lot better if we can go off on our own, do our own research, get extremely deep into a topic, and then use that topic as a base to bounce off of, to then connect multiple contexts of life, to then develop this critical thinking skills? Why are we trying to establish so many tiny bases that is based on the IB course anyway? What can we do with critical thinking if we just have these things that are just kind of semi-floating around and make it seem as if we're extremely lackluster in learning anything? But that's beside the point. That's going off too much of a rant. You are, in the IB program, if you do not have this before, develop that skill of working hard. More or less. That, in my opinion, is like the most valuable skill you're going to ever develop in IB. Right? This is the IB schedule. You are just developing one skill for the first 2 semesters. You're not even thinking about IAs and EEs, right? You're not even thinking about EE towards the end of 11th grade, of the 2nd semester. Right? And then in the summer, just relax. Take your time, right? And I would basically say, stick to that schedule that you already have. Work days, off day. Work day, off day. Work day, off days. If that schedule is good and flexible, you're not gonna hate it. You're gonna adhere to it even in the summer because it's actually a wonderful schedule that you have just found out. Okay, wonderful. That basically means you're getting on top of your thing, you're getting on top of your crap, and well, if you're getting on top of your crap, IAs and EEs, when it comes to that time, you can actually just sit down every single day and do the research and not be scared of, oh, there's another test coming up, because you already have all your base established within that subject, which basically means why would you need to learn so much more? No, you don't. You can concentrate all your time on IAs and EE and not stress out a crap ton about it. And basically, I'm telling you to do your IA and EE on the 3rd semester, after the summer of 11th grade, more or less at the beginning of 12th grade. Because then, finally then, would you have enough knowledge to do things. I'm not saying in the summer you shouldn't completely think about your IAs and EEs. think about some questions. We're just talking about questions. Because the moment you have a question of any IAs and EEs that are acceptable, you're good. You're in extremely good condition. The research is not hard. The coming up with the question is the hardest thing, which just tells you how bad the IB is, in a sense, right? That's the hardest thing. That's just coming up with the question and then you carry out whatever. Physics, it will take you literally a few days. Math, that thing you should not even worry even towards the end of the fourth semester, just because you have to learn so much other stuff to even get to a point where you can say, yes, I can actually use this or that skill. Business management is probably perhaps the worst one, because you actually have to go out and interview people sometimes. And a lot of time you're all interviewing them based on economics and financials details, and I don't think everyone would be too wanting to give an entire company's accountant and financing accounts onto a literal child. Other than that, that's more or less all the IAs. History IA is also not that bad. I'll basically tell you that, because your questions, you are just simply exploring a topic. Once again, you're just exploring deep into a topic. So it's really is not that bad. It really is not. And surprise, surprise, most IAs are around 1,500 to 2,000 words, which basically means, let's say for history, a lot of time you will find a lot of good resources. That basically means you, if anything, it's harder to keep under the word count. You a lot of time would go over the word count, just because there's so much resources on a lot of things, and a lot of them can be extremely detailed. Believe me, you don't need that many hours in it, right? If anything, I could have probably cut down 10 hours of my time doing history research. Frankly, didn't need it. Math, I told you it's gonna take a while. Physics, you're gonna get that quickly over. Business management, you can actually lie, and a lot of times the teachers won't know. I told you they don't know how to critically think. And EE, well, pick a topic, pick a question, and then just go research on it on its own. Just write something. Believe me, it's 4,000 words. There's going to be fluff in there, okay? Most people cannot read through a 4,000 word anything and somehow focus through it all the time, okay? Especially if you're not an IB examiner or like a person who's checking the EE. So believe me, a lot of times you can put a lot of fluff onto it. And even if you get a bad score on that, this is where the wonderful work schedule comes in. Or your test scores are great. Well, then that's amazing, right? That's super duper amazing. They don't allow your EE and IA to be the really on the same course as the IB, so you have to do a lot of external research. So why care a massive amount about it? Sure, you can say, oh, it's a big amount of your scorings and everything. Yeah, but a lot of the time your IA and EE is not going to be that bad. Believe me, it's not going to be super duper bad. If you have established this work schedule in the first place, in the first 2 semesters, you're not going to like trip and fall in the 3rd and 4th semester. So that's the IB schedule. You develop, there's one big overarching skill, and you just take the IB calmly. You're not doing much, you're just establishing this one skill. And in the entire 2 semesters, you have like 10 months to develop it, dude, and the summer. And then on the 3rd and 4th semester, that's when you rev that engine going. That's when I already have the skill, I've acquired a lot of things, I know the ins and outs of what I need to do, I have already set my brain up to this condition of being able to work hard. Boom. IAs and EEs is gonna come that much more naturally. And also another skill that you have to develop is type quickly, because people type too slow. Just no. You going into the IB, you should at least have at least 80 words per minute, right? Believe me, that will shorten all your working times by at least an hour. Okay. Other than that, that's about it. So remember, acquiring skill is going to be the first 2 semesters. IAs and EEs are going to be spread out throughout the 3rd and 4th semester, depending on which it is. I would try to say get as much as you can done within the first few months, Because in 12th grade, a lot of time when you go in, it's not gonna be, they're not gonna immediately go in and just throw everything at you again. And even if they do that, you already have all these skills established previously, so it's gonna be that much easier to ease into it. So you do your IAs and EEs then, and if you already have all this scheduled and skill acquisition done, boom, IAs and EEs is gonna come that much easier. And then you go through the IB slowly, and oh great, now you have this wonderful schedule that you can actually work on and actually understand things. And now any new topic that they throw at you, you can just do boom. I already know where to look for extra resources if I don't understand anything, and I can just work hard because I'm already really used to this schedule. So that's how the IB calendar looks like. First and second semester is the only one that matters. The third and fourth semester is just gritting through the final bit of the IB. That's how it looks like. It's a lot simpler than you think, right? But it's the long haul that sucks. Other than that, I shall end the video.